Welcome back to the Bookcast, my platform for sharing short fiction and updates on life as a self-published author of romantic fiction that centers Black love. I am D.L. White, Atlanta-based author of... I have lost count of how many novels and numerous short stories and fan fiction works. We'll get into that later because I have been in a flurry of writing and getting stuff together for 2025, and I need to count, y'all. But I'm a reader first, so we usually begin with the book report, then we talk about writing and topics of the day. This is episode 104, by the way, and I'm back-ish. I'm trying to be back. I've been really sporadic since early November, and believe you me, I'm making an effort to get back to where I want to be, mostly where I need to be to get through this next season of life. Trying not to let situations and legislations and governments steal my joy and my zest for life. At the same time, I'm just shaking my head, drinking my coffee, doing my job, yo. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Let me not get started because I could go on, and we're not doing that. We're having a podcast today, though. Today is Sunday, December 15th, 2024. It is a cold and gloomy day in the ATL. I am here, though. I have a mic, though, and I'm ready to dig in. But first, won't you join me for some coffee? And I bought some cream of wheat. So I'm in my winter hot breakfast era, hot cereal breakfast. I've been really getting into oatmeal and cream of wheat again lately. Reminds me of my childhood. Let's begin with the book report as always, because I am a book head. I have read 190 books toward my challenge to read 200 books in 2024. I've been struggling the latest bit because a girl has been busy and the tiniest bit depressed. But I'm about to be on the most luscious vacation in about 3 days, and I can't wait to get up in some books. Here's what I got read this week. I read The House on the Water by Margot Hunt. This was really good, and it's only like 2 hours, 47 minutes on audio. A neat little mystery. I really enjoyed this a lot. The Next Grave by Kendra Elliot. You guys know over the summer, I really got into my Kendra Elliot, Melinda Lee bag and basically listened to everything either of them have available while I was on my travels and spending lots of time doing busy work. They were all up in my ears. The Next Grave is the next Kendra Elliot book, and it's pretty good. It was pretty good. I'm finding when I'm listening to like mysteries and thrillers that they really drag a story out, and I'm like, man, get to the point already. Just like 8 hours later, what is happening? Why solve this already? What's going on? So, yeah. And then I listened to Technically Speaking by Michael Elliott, and I'll be honest, I did not enjoy this. I did not really enjoy this at all. The one part I enjoyed was that Queen Latifah, Dana Owens, had a speaking part in it, but it's one of those Atmos Dolby live action audio projects where it's not necessarily an audio book. It sounds more like listening to a movie. I don't consider these audio books, and I hate when Audible does this. But I was 3 books behind on my challenge, and I was like, let me just catch up super quick and grab some short stuff from Audible and have, an afternoon of listening, just so I can like catch up a little bit and not be stressed out about it. So I listened to it because Queen Latifah was on it, but this story is basically a story about a woman that got away with identity theft, and I don't even care if that's a spoiler. It was like an hour and something. Didn't enjoy it. I also listened to Stranded by Chris Bruno, which was the same type of story. It's a live action. It's like acted out. It's like it's like listening to a movie or listening to a TV show, but this one had Tracy Ellis Ross and Taraji P. Henson, and it was entirely more enjoyable than technically speaking. I still would have rather read a book or listened to a book. Why cannot these actors like voice the book instead of like acting it out? It's like, you know, it's like old time radio, which I just don't like it. I don't like it. That is pretty much what I got read this week. I didn't really get a whole lot read during the week. I mostly listened to those over the last few days, but you know, that's how it goes. I've got a bunch of stuff in the KU queue to read that I need to do a Bridget Bianca style read or release. And I want to get into some holiday novellas, but I also want to be in the mood for them. And a lot of them are kind of DOA for me. I can tell by the first chapter, sometimes the first page, if something's going to work for me. And a lot of times they just aren't, you know, which is fair. You know, my books don't work for everyone. So it stands to reason that as a mood reader, some books are just not going to work for me. I'm not going to feel like powering through them. So fair. Coming up on the list, I've got Human Resources, a Happy Holiday short, and then my friend Sharon C. Cooper has her next book in the Atlanta's Finest series out. I have both of those on my reading list. I haven't started reading them, but we're gonna get around to it, okay? And then I have had a couple of live events lately. One I skipped out on, the Snellville Book Festival, just came too quickly after the election. And I said, nope, I cannot. But I did get out of the house for the Tinsel and Tales event at the Bookworm Bookstore in Powder Springs last weekend. It's a cute little Metro Georgia town, super cute shop. Super friendly shop owner. I'm really excited to do more with a local bookstore, especially if that bookstore carries my books. So that event was really fun. I sold a few books. I met some authors and saw some old friends in person. I hadn't seen, speaking of my friend Sharon, I hadn't seen Sharon C. Cooper in person in years. We have a quarterly writers group where we meet, you know, on Zoom, like every 3 months, but I hadn't seen her in person in a long time. So it was really nice to get to hug her and see her face. And I happened to see her at this event. I saw Dr. Vanessa Riley, who's kind of like a regular around book events. If there's a local book event, you can bet your butt Dr. Vanessa Riley is there. I met Sharon Blunt. Valerie Wesley were all there. Sally Kirkpatrick, who I've seen multiple times. She actually bought a copy of Home for the Holidays, read it, and reviewed it. And it was hilarious because she went to write her review for it and an ad for her book popped up, which is really, really funny. So that was a really good time. I wanted to see Piper Hughley, but she had some car trouble and wasn't able to make it. So sad face. Another event without seeing Piper. I was supposed to see her, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but her sister Heather had just passed away, and so she didn't make it to that event either. So, but she did sell out of all of her books. All of her books sold out, so that's fun anyway. Onto the writing and publishing update. I've been writing a lot. It's basically, I've been working out all of my frustrations and my woes on my keyboard, my poor keyboard and the pen, just kind of like digging out old stuff and just seeing what I can do with it. It's not perfect. All of it needs editing. All of it needs editing. But I, was like, let's just see what we can do. Just throw some words on the page and see if you can finish it. So I told you guys, I think last week about the festival at Evergreen Falls. I should have edits back at some point today or tomorrow so I can prep that for sale. That should be out before the holidays. I'm very excited for you to meet Tandy and Kwame. And then I wrote a little newsletter magnet, which I always wanted to write and never had time or an idea. So I just was like swimming around the internet for story prompts, and I came upon one that I thought, hey, let me just do like a 1 chapter quick shot story on this. So I wrote Olympia's on King Street, which is about a plus size lingerie shop, a lingerie boutique owner who happens to catch her landlord out in the rain, and she invites him into her shop. And the afternoon heats up, and there's a neat little twist in this story that I really enjoy. So if you sign up for my newsletter, it's booksbydlwhite.com/newsletter. You'll get a copy of said story. And it's pretty neat. I think I'm also going to throw it up on my short fiction Substack. So if you are a paid subscriber to the Substack, you will also be able to read that story. So yeah, there's some fun there. Also have been working on a couple of story starts, just poking around. I've told you guys a long time ago about a sisters trilogy that I wanted to write. Then I discovered that I kind of needed to write a prequel. So I am working on the prequel, and then I'll start on the 3-book series. And I think that's going to take me through 2025, just so I have some new people to write, new stories to write. And then I am working on the next Potter Lake novel. It's called Still I Rise. It's about Helen and Orlando's daughter who, she's a runaway bride and ran away from Potter Lake when she was very young, like 19, and hasn't been back home since. And she ends up back in Potter Lake. And Helen gets her a job at this bakery that's actually competing with Helen's kitchen, but Helen doesn't mind as long as the owner of the bakery, Kingston, can keep Helen's daughter out of her hair. So I started on that. You know, my normal mode is I write about 8 chapters, and then I hit a wall, and then I have to put it down and think about it and figure out where I'm going, and then kind of back up and then plan to the end. Otherwise, it will just sit in my drafts for years, sort of like Missing Persons, which is a story I started after I finished at Dinner at Sam's. And I think I released Dinner at Sam's in 2018. So that's how long that story's been hanging around. If you read Dinner at Sam's, Gibson, who is the hero in that story, is an attorney, and he hires an investigator to follow Vanessa's husband. That investigator is Yvette Young with Young Investigations. And Yvette really spoke to me. She had a story. And so I've been kind of toying with Yvette's story through the years. I open it up and add a chapter and then get stuck and shut it down. Well, I pulled it out a few weeks ago, and I was like, okay, yeah, I think I know how this has to go. And I think that I got stuck in trying to write a thriller, and I don't have thriller chops yet. But I could write a little bit of a mystery, a romantic mystery, because it's hard for me to write a book and it not turn into a romance, but I can add a little subgenre in there. So I actually got through the end. It does need editing. It needs, some shoring up. I know I have a lot of repetition in there because I was really just trying to get the story out and tell myself the story so I understand the story. But I did get through it, and I'm just going to let it sit for a minute, let it marinate, percolate, whatever, read a whole lot of mysteries. Whole lot of mysteries and thrillers. Just get it in my head. Here's how a mystery goes. Here's how I might need to draw this out. Here's what I might need to, punch up a little bit. This part isn't quite believable. You just made that up, didn't you? Yes, I did. I made up most of it. I did try to do some research. I'm does this make sense? Is this plausible? No? Okay. Well, we're going to have to rewrite that. And a lot of it is a little bit fantastical because, come on, I'm not a mystery writer. I'm a romance writer. So there's a couple of books that I wanna read. There's a series by Christina C. Jones called If You Can. My Missing Persons is nothing like If You Can, but the idea of the continuing thread throughout the series, that like there's a level of professionalism that I want to put forth in this series, that I am reminded of the If You Can series, that I want to get that in my brain. I want to get that in my mind. Like, this is the level that we are striving for. If you look at that, now look at this, now look at that, now look at this, and are you there? Yes, no. But it's on paper, which is my favorite part of a novel. It's words on page, because I do love to edit and revise. And so I just, the biggest struggle right now is just leaving it alone so it can marinate, and I'll pick it back up in the new year. I do not know when it will be out, but I do have draft 0 done. I'm at 25 chapters. I don't think I'm adding any chapters. Like, I don't see a need to add chapters, but the chapters I have are so short I could add scenes. So I'm at like 48,000 words. So I could add, I could fluff up 20,000 more words and have a good, robust 70,000 word novel, which would make me really happy. I'm happy with it, actually, how it turned out. I think it turned out great. Yvette is it retired or separated? I don't know. She's separated from the army. She was engaged to a man named Jason, and she lost him when he went to Afghanistan. Jason was not supposed to see combat. He was a mechanic, and ended up sadly passing away over there. And we meet Yvette when she is sort of in the throes of her grief and trying to put her life back together. Jason and Yvette had a friend in the JAG Corps named Wesley. He was a JAG attorney, and he separated from the army, and now he is a public sector attorney. And Wesley has been in love with Yvette for a long time, and Yvette has known this, but she has always had her relationship with Jason to guard her against anything going on with Wesley. But Jason has been gone for 3 years, and Wesley has been very, very patiently waiting and being a good friend. And she has done investigations for Courtney and Payne, which is his law firm. And he's been pushing, and Yvette is just not comfortable with that. And so much of this book is Yvette and Wesley kind of dancing around each other, because she doesn't want to admit to herself her feelings, and she doesn't want to let go of Jason. And, her career needs, a little kick in the pants. And then, there's just Wesley just kind of being Wesley, being beefy and attorney-like. So it's been fun to write. It's been good to get my head in some books, in some fiction. It's actually been very healing to read and to write. This is how I emote, and I just realized I was not going to feel better unless I put some words on a page. And so I finally did that. I am not done doing that. I feel like 2025 is going to be a very prolific year, which is great because it's been a few years of burnout and drought. I used to be a 3 and 4 year book writing person, and I haven't been for some time. Who knew all it took was a devastating election for me to just put my head down and start working. Except like 2020 was a rough year. And I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of writing that year. I wrote Neverlist that year. I wrote most of the Neverlist that year. I released The Guy Next Door's audio that year. I edited and released A Thin Line again, re-released A Thin Line that year. So I feel like I haven't been this productive since 2020. So it's good to be back. Sad what it took to put me back in the chair, but Forward. We're looking forward. So that's the writing publishing update. I still didn't count. So Calculated Risk is complete. That will be out in 2025. That was book 15. Festival at Evergreen Falls will be out before the holidays. That is 16. And then Olympia's at King Street is a short. I don't know if we're calling that. It's not published, but it's complete. So 17. And then Missing Persons is complete, needs to be edited, not published, but it's complete. So 18. So next year, if I play my cards right, I mean, next year I will have books. I don't know. Next year I'll be at least at 18 books published by the end of the year. It'll be more than that, probably. I don't know if I am going to release the trilogy, if I'm going to write the trilogy all at once, or if I'm going to release them book by book. I'm more inclined to write it all at once and then release them one at a time, so I have a little bit of a backlog. Well, we'll see. I'm a very impatient person. Like, I already have to wait until spring for a Calculated Risk to come out, and I don't like it at all. I wanted it out right away. I already had to wait until December to turn it in and for it to be out in the winter, and now it's pushed back until the spring because it is part of a group project. I am anxious for it to be out. So, we'll see how things go if I am patient enough to hold a 4-book project. Or I might release the prequel and then write the 3 books and just let the prequel kind of sell the series. I don't know. I'm just talking. I have no clue. I'm so excited to have books in the hopper and to have ideas and be writing stuff that, hey man, you're going to get what you get, because I'm just excited to have books coming. So I am really excited to have Olympia's at King Street out. You can get that free if you sign up for my newsletter. It's booksbydlwhite.com/newsletter. And if you're already on my newsletter, I'm going to be writing a newsletter here in a few days, and I will include a link to that to the people who are already on my newsletter. Never fear. I will get a copy of, I'll get a link to that to you in the next newsletter. I will have some announcements coming up pretty soon. So you guys will have that. And then Festival at Evergreen Falls, which will be out before the end of the year. Very excited about those. Very excited about 2025. I hope I just keep coming up with some good ideas, new people, new situations, new settings, new modes of writing. So that is pretty much the update. That's what I've got going on. I am about to drink some coffee and grab my water and strike up a book to listen to and enjoy my Sunday. It's very gray. It is very, very gray today and cold. And I just do not plan to leave the house until Tuesday. Maybe not even Tuesday, because I have literally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I have the easiest 3 days on the planet coming up. It's just like not Zoom meetings, we do Teams, but it's just meetings and like closing down the year. Expense reports. I'm crossing my fingers. People need to not give me any work to do this week because I'm done. I'm done. So, and I know my boss is out Thursday and Friday. So honestly, after Wednesday afternoon, I'm turning my work brain off, turning vacation brain on. It's just going to be all books, all Christmas movies, all reading all the time. I know you're very jealous, and you have every right to be. So that brings us to the end of today's show. I bid you adieu, but not before thanking you so much for joining me for today's chat. I really enjoy having you here. I welcome any comments or feedback you might have at booksbydlwhite.com/bookcast/104. You'll also find show notes, links to all the things I talked about if they're relevant, and a transcript for today's show at that link. And you'll also find all of that good stuff on my Substack. Please share this podcast if you enjoy this episode. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Substack, please give a girl a rating. I'd really appreciate it. Do not forget that you can support this podcast with your book purchases at payhip.com/booksbydlwhite, by spreading the good word to your favorite people, by joining the newsletter or the Substack. Links are on my website at booksbydlwhite.com/link in bio, or you can throw some coins in the hat at bookcast.buzzsprout.com. Thank you so much to my monthly supporters. Your gift currently covers my Buzzsprout subscription, and I do really appreciate your support. Every little bit really does help. The Bookcast is written, produced, and edited by me, D.L. White. Our theme music and any sound effects are provided by Pixabay. I will be back next week is what I'm saying today, but if I'm not, I will see you when I see you. I do plan to be back next week because hopefully Festival at Evergreen Falls will be out, and I will be able to gush about that, and it'll be very exciting. Until then, please enjoy your weekend. Have a superlative week, and we'll chat again soon. Bye-bye.